So Heartstopper has been out for less than 12 hours, and I've already finished the entire thing. Hi everyone, my name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel, or thanks for joining us if you're new here. Today I'm going to be talking about the Heartstopper TV show that was released literally this morning. Oh, and look at me. I'm graduating university. I don't know what I'm doing with my life, and I'm spontaneously crying at everything. So we've been having a time, and I was gonna take a break before the last episode, and then they just hit us with that cliffhanger, and I was like, fuck it. Literally, I had a meeting at 3. I finished this show at 3 o'clock on the dot. Timed it perfectly. So proud of myself. I'm gonna just kind of go through some different things in the TV show and how they relate to the book, or like things that I think that the TV show did really well in comparison to the book. I do have like a full review of the Heartstopper webcomic that was a part of my Webcomic Wednesdays, and I will link that up here if you want to go and check that out. First, there won't be spoilers if you've read the book. If you haven't read the book, then there might be like spoilers, because I'm not going to talk about like super intimate things that I think are super spoilery from the TV show. If I do, I'll flag it, but things like their first kiss and things like that are like key plot points in the books, I'm going to be talking about like how that's represented in the TV show. So with that, let's dive in. Let's talk about Kit Connor, my beloved. This man could not have been Charlie Spring. I mean, I appreciate that he auditioned for it, but Nick Nelson. Okay. In the webcomic, I related more to Charlie. I've always related more to Charlie just from like my own mental health self-deprecating things. I'm also like not really golden retriever type like Nick is, but I think this show, and like also because of like where this show takes place in the comics and their need to like flesh it out, gives Nick so much more room to like explore who he is, and you know, kind of for us to go on that journey with him. And that was something that like really hit home for me. You know, we're seeing him know that he's in love with Charlie and that this is a relationship that he wants to be in, but also like still have no understanding of himself, like still going home at night watching videos about bisexuality and like crying. And that just hit home. I think where I am in my own like ace journey right now, and like sorting out gender, sexuality, all of that mess, it's essentially like I know pieces that fit, but being able to feel comfortable that it fits and be like, this is something that I can wear and I can have claim to, and I do belong in here, while also like the world around you isn't it's like throwing all this other stuff at you. Like, you know, Nick's mom, like totally unintentionally, is like, oh, you'll find a nice girl one day, and his friends are trying to set him up with girls, and he just keeps kind of feeling this reinforcement that like this thing that's gonna fit me is something that doesn't fit a lot of other people. And like how does that work? How do I sit in this? What's gonna change if I'm like willing to take this on? And just that like journey to like understanding your own queerness and self-acceptance, and feeling like you need to have it all figured out, when in reality at the heart of it you're like, I just love this person. Like, why do I need a reason to love them? Where does this name fit in? And like, how is loving them making me feel like I'm losing myself by trying to like reclaim who I am in this new identity, but like not wanting to lose my connection with them? And the show did that all brilliantly. Another character that I really resonated with in the show, that I like wouldn't say I was like super connected to in the comics, was Tao. I realized I have been saying his name wrong this entire time, so I'm very sorry about that. And you know, he has kind of this whole arc about like being afraid of being alone and seeing his friends engage in relationships and not wanting to be, you know, left out or losing his friendships as people like start spending more time with the people that they're in relationships, which is largely due to the nature of like secret relationships. But in particular, that was something that really hit me, kind of with the stage again that I'm at in my life, and people getting settled in with their partners and like being happy for them, but also being like, please don't leave me. I still want things to be the way that they were, and that how like we engaged with each other. There's a lot of the like goofy silliness to him as well, but also just like that care for Charlie and that like want and need to protect his friends, and the way that it keeps coming out through him is done so well in the show. I think he might have been my favorite character. Him and Nick, which are not my favorite characters if I were to say, reading the webcomic, what I thought. I did think it was really cool that the way that they like tied in a lot of little things from the comic. So for example, there's like the bonus comic about Tara and Darcy being locked in the music room together, and they're able to bring that in the show. They're able to bring in like the ink splat scene and Tori with her like straw sips, and I think that's something that the show does a good job at, as like there's Easter eggs for you. If you're a comic reader, there's the Easter eggs there. The biggest one, I think, being Isaac having radio silence with him at one point in time. So Isaac is a new character that kind of like fills the spot that Elle has in their friendship circle. And Isaac is a reader. He is reading all the times throughout all of the series, which I appreciate, because the scene that he has radio silence in is Charlie's birthday party. And I'm like, you know what? I respect it. I respect that you show up to this birthday party and you're like, yep, I'm just going to be reading when it is not my turn to be bowling. But also because Elle is the main character in radio silence and Isaac is like kind of taking over the role that Elle would be in, I thought that was really cool, as being like a nice little nod to people who are a big fan of the Osmonverse, and being like, yes, I know he's not Elle, but like, you know, this is still a part of this universe, and this is still something that's like important. Little shout out to people, which was amazing as someone who loves Alice Osmond to be able to witness that. Okay, there's like two key things that I kind of want to touch about that are going to be a bit spoilery, and then I'm going to go into like a lightning round. So if you don't want to hear about the spoiler things, skip ahead to the lightning round. I'll put timestamps down below. The first thing is Elle telling Tao about Nick and Charlie dating. I had a hard time with this because I think the way that they work with Tao's character and the way that the narrative ends up speedrunning a lot of stuff in the comics, and I get that because it's a way of moving the internal to the external, because for so long it is about Nick and Nick's journey to finding himself and becoming comfortable in his relationship with Charlie and them growing together before being ready to come out. And in a show that is trying to work with an ensemble cast, having all of that internal stuff happening and not like having externally to everyone else doesn't work very well. And so, you know, we can't have this whole completely secret relationship without people finding out about it. And that's where, you know, they start telling like Tara and Darcy and Elle, and then Tao finds out a lot earlier than he would in the comics, just for the purpose of like, you know, having a fulfilled arc contained within one season. I had a hard time with this because like I get why Elle told him, but also I'm like, that wasn't really your information to tell. And I'm curious if like that'll get discussed more, because we did have a bit of an apology, but there wasn't more going into that. Especially too because they did something with Elle in the show where I really liked, where they had her getting frustrated with her friends kind of trying to like push her and Tao together, knowing that they like each other. And that's something that I've experienced when people are trying to like ship two people or like force them into a relationship together, and it's like, I didn't ask you for this help. Can you let me figure this out in my own terms? Especially for someone like Elle, who's just like gone through all of this change and is like, I need to figure out where I want to be and the people I want around me on my own terms, and I don't want to jeopardize our friendship by trying to move into this relationship. Can we just chill? Can we all take a chill pill? But then it seems a little bit hypocritical for her to be like, hey, or I don't want you to do this, but then her turning around and kind of like overstepping the bounds that Charlie gave with information. I'm not like mad about it, I think I'm just trying to understand it. The other big change that I have been trying to wrap my head around is the way that the show ends. I was getting a little bit concerned while I was watching it because I was worried that they were gonna kind of do a like Love Simony type ending with like a big dramatic kiss or like, you know, display of affection on the sports field, which they didn't do, but like, I don't know, people in the show don't seem to know gay people exist, but I'm like, Nick storming off the field to go and grab Charlie. Okay, I think this is where like the crux of my concern with the ending is. Because I loved so much of Nick's journey in the show, and that was something that like I really connected with, and I, you know, was while watching Kit Connor do this incredible acting and just fucking rip my heart out of my chest. In particular, like the one scene where he shows up at Charlie's house after they kiss and he's like freaking out. He's like having this full-on gay crisis. For his version of Nick Nelson, it's not like a big blow-up kind of the way that it is with Nick, where he's like, oh my god, I don't know what's happening. He does it softer, and like that just hurt me to like watch Nick like kind of cave in on himself, like I don't know what I'm doing. And you know, so Kit Connor has brought all of this humanity and this confusion and this like, I'm trying to figure it out, please let me figure it out with you, to the role. And then to have it end so quickly with him being like, yeah, I'm ready to come out now, let's start telling people, didn't fit. Like I wanted more of that self-exploration, more of a deep dive into Nick's character, and I understand they only had so much that they could do in 8 episodes, but I think that's where the ending felt like a little bit rushed to me, where I'm like, okay, maybe we don't have to wrap this all up in one season. Maybe we can put our hope on getting a season 2, cough cough or flag means death, and hope that that will all come together in the next season. That's kind of how I feel about that. I don't know what other people think. I think largely it's this frustration with the focus on a coming out narrative in TV and movies. I'm gonna go all queer theory on you here, but there's like the closet is a construction, right? Like the idea that, you know, we're assuming that everyone in a cis-normative and heteronormative society, we're assuming that everyone is cisgendered and straight at birth, and then they have to come out of the closet. Like that's something that we've built. And you know, people don't always come out in that traditional sense, and it's not like a one-time thing. It's like a thing that's constantly happening depending on the environment that you're in. And I think, to me, the ending felt like it was taking all of this like really important conversations that Nick was having about like, you know, why do I have to change, or why does it have to be this big coming out thing, and like, yeah, I'm not ready to be out, I need to figure it out, but also that doesn't mean that like I'm not bi if I'm just not ready to like talk about it yet, or it's not something I want to be open about. And then like pigeonhole that in a like, he was in the closet, he figured it out, and now he's out of the closet. And I feel like that's a really simplification of like a lived experience of queer people and like the realities of what it means to find your identity as a queer person. You know, like that's not the crux of what it means to be queer. Is like, oh, congrats, you're out, everything's fine now, you're totally comfortable in your bisexuality. Like I don't think that's right. And that's where I had the one scene that really frustrated with me was Tao says something to Nick along the lines of basically like, you either need to like be willing to give him more than a secret boyfriend or like move on. And that pissed me off a lot, especially to have it coming from like one of the straightest characters in the show, to be like, yeah, you need to be comfortable being with him in public and like not understanding all the complicated layers of like not only queer experience but like also safety depending where you are. And like, you know, we know Nick's mom's great, but you know, you don't know if Nick's mom could have been homophobic or something like that. It's hard because like I do understand where people come from when they're like, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's not willing to be like public about it, much in the same way that like, you know, Ben Platt's song like Honest Man being like, okay, let's take this jump together, let's be willing to be open. But also I think that there's something really dangerous in saying that people like need to come out. If you want to keep your family in your life, for some people, it's like, fine, those two parts of my life need to be separate, and people are totally comfortable with that. And I don't think we should completely look down on people for that. So I was kind of a little bit frustrated and a little bit disappointed, frankly, to have Tao accuse Nick and Charlie's relationship of being less just because they're not public with it. And the parallels that there draws with Charlie's relationship with Ben, which is Charlie is always reminding Nick, and is very true, is like very different, because the reason that their relationship was secret and the reason that Nick and Charlie's relationship is secret is very different. Like, you have to have those conversations, you have to be willing to be there with that person as they go on the journey and figure out where they want to be out, how they want to have those conversations. But also, I don't think it's completely fair to be like, no, you're a shitty person, or you're treating this person badly for not wanting to be out yet. Like, that didn't sit right with me. Anyways, I think that was more the two spoiler related things, but we're gonna stop there. All right, lightning round. I'm just going to blow through some things in the show that I either liked or didn't like. And here we go. 1, I understand this is probably a branding thing, but why the hell do they all message each other on Instagram? Is that a UK thing? Never in my life have I only had a conversation with my best friends over Instagram. 2, Nellie is fucking adorable and amazing, and we love her. 3, the little fireworks. There's a lot of like really adorable 2D animations, but in particular when they like hold hands or kiss and there's like little fireworks that go off. Big fan, big fan. Charlie's Con collection. As someone who also owns a ridiculous amount of Converse, big fan. But also, in the scene when Nick shows up in the pouring rain, when they're in his room and they kiss, Nick still has his shoes on. And it took me out of the entire scene because I'm like, it is pouring wet. Why did you wear your shoes all the way upstairs into this person you're interested in's bedroom? Also, because my mother would kill me if I brought anybody into my house with like filthy shoes and then into my room that is maybe carpeted. I can't remember what the floor is like in Charlie's bedroom, but they kiss and it literally shows the feet. And I'm like, why does Nick have shoes on? It's wet outside and he takes his hoodie off, but no, his muddy shoes get brought in. Anyways, this is supposed to be lightning round. Moving on. Char, big fan of the nickname Char and how adorable that is. Planning for season 2, hell yeah. All the like planting the little seeds of Charlie's eating disorder. I feel weird calling that an Easter egg, but it is also knowing the comics and the characters and being like, okay, they're going to prepare to deal with this in a way that is going to be like appropriate and also not coming out of left field is great. The rugby game, I do appreciate them calling out the other team being adults, but also why are their friends not sitting in the bleachers when there are perfectly good empty bleachers behind them? They're just standing on the edge of the field. But also, why is there literally no one at that game except for those 10 friends? They're not even playing at their high school. It's an away game. There should be people's parents or significant others there. Again, another really nitpicky thing. Milkshakes. I want an adorable small town milkshake truck that I can go to. Those looked fucking delicious and I would like to drink them. Oh, and last thing, big fan of the principal just coming online being like, I don't know what rugby is, but also you must play sports or the PE teacher is going to kill you. Oh, and the tree. Last thing. That tree in the corner of the art classroom, I want it. I want to paint my floor like that. So that's what I gotta say about that. I loved it. To be 100% honest with you, I was very nervous about this show because I'm not the biggest fan of film adaptations of books. I have a whole other video about that I'll link up here, but for me, especially because Heartstopper and Alice Oseman have such a special place in my heart, and with it being a graphic novel, I was like, I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull this off properly. But, they really got that, like, teen awkwardness done well, and it was cute, it was sweet. The way that the first kiss was done was amazing, had me completely sold, so go check it out, and then go read the graphic novel, or read the graphic novel first, then go watch the show. What am I talking about? I'm a book channel. And please support Alice Oseman and all of their incredible work, because they're fucking amazing, and she's who I aspire to be when I am older. even though I think she's like maybe 4 years older than me. But yeah, if you've watched the show, or if you're going to watch the show, or read the comics or whatever, drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think about it. I am super excited to be able to talk to people about it. I was just on TikTok before filming this video, and literally every video on TikTok was about Heartstopper. So my algorithm knows what I want. And I hope you all end up watching this video if you're out here like me looking for more content after finishing the show. In the meantime, if you would like to subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications when I post other videos, that would be amazing. I am going to be bringing Webcomic Wednesdays back in May, so stay tuned for more information about that. Otherwise, if you want to follow what I'm reading, my story graph is linked down below, as well as my art Instagram. I got a lot of emotions. It's nice outside, so now that I've watched, like, it's not even that bad. I think it's like 2 hours of TV. I'm gonna go on a walk and get some sun. So thank you for going on this journey with me, and go support the show. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Till the next video, stay kind, friends.